These signs of the end times, climate change, helps cause Armageddon. El Nino is one of these signs of the end times. As for Chernobyl, all of the signs were prophesied thousands of planet Earth years in advance by the ruler of the universe, who, as you should see if you read on, is never wrong. The signs were written for men to be able to recognize the end time and to warn mankind to stop. Woe, woe, woe. Revelation 8, verse 13, and turn around before it is too late. The ruler of the universe said, 2 Esdras 5, verse 1, nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, signs, behold, the days shall come, in which the majority of them that dwell upon earth shall be taken in, deceived. Revelation 12, verse 9, and the way of truth, the covenant, his laws in the Torah, shall be hidden by governments, politicians, and priests, and the land shall be barren of faith. Luke 18, verse 8. But iniquity and inequality shall be increased above that which thou, Esdras, now seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. And the land that thou seest now to have roots shall thou see wasted suddenly. Desertification caused by deforestation and or drought, through climate change, and wasted by pollution from nitrates, heavy metals, toxins, Agent Orange, radiation, anti-personnel, landmines, forest fires, and the general effects of global warming and warfare, etc., etc. But if the Most High grant thee to live, thou shalt see after 1986 the third trumpet revelation, Apocalypse 8, verses 10 to 11. Chernobyl means wormwood in Ukrainian, that the sun of righteousness, see Malachi 4:2, shall suddenly shine, enlighten people again in the night, darkness, the dark times, evil. Please see my Star Wars fact, not fiction booklet, and the moon thrice in the day. And blood, life shall drop out of wood, deforestation, and the stone, Messiah, Christ, Madni. Matthew 21, verse 42, shall give his voice, and the peoples shall be troubled. Please see the four horsemen of the apocalypse and the two witnesses booklet. And the air goings, wind patterns shall be changed due to the deforestation, El Nino, trade winds, etc. Approximately, El Nino means the Christ child in Spanish. And even he shall rule, Christ, whom they look not for that dwell upon the earth. Please see my On the Way to Emmaus again booklet. And the fowls shall take their flight away together. And the sodomitish sea of people shall cast out fish. People have died with AIDS. Romans 1, verse 27, just as the sea casts out dead fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. Luke 17, verse 29. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and migration patterns, and childbearing women shall bring forth monsters, in God's opinion, speaking metaphorically. And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall common sense hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. Matthew 24:26. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon earth. One land also shall ask another, and say, Is righteousness that maketh a man righteous in God's sight gone through thee? And it shall say, No. At the same time shall men hope, but nothing obtain. They shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper. And when the seal to be set upon the world that is to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens, signs. The book shall be opened before the firmament, Revelation 5, and they shall see all together. Note well, Matthew 13, verses 47 through 51, where the net is the internet and the sea is the world. And the children of a year old shall speak with their voices. The women with child pregnant shall bring forth untimely premature children of 3 or 4 months old, and they shall live and be raised up in incubators, ventilators. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty of food, including the seeds from overfishing. And the trumpet, the 6th, World War III, Phase 2, or the 7th, the reaping shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. Please see The Invasion of Kuwait in Prophecy booklet for the explanation of the trumpets and of the 5th trumpet, which was Phase 1 of World War III, the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait, 1990-91. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies for food, etc. And the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape death, and see my salvation and the end of your world. Matthew 24, verse 6, Jesus said, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, talk of war, with some false alarms. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, individual and world wars, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, woes. 2 Esdras 16, verse 18. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. 2 Esdras 16, verse 28. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened by the ruler of the universe. And then shall appear the sign, star of the Son of Man, Revelation 21, verse 2, in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Please see my Close Encounters of the Gibraltar Kind booklet. 2 Esdras 7, verse 26. Behold, the time shall come that these tokens, signs which I have told thee, shall come to pass. And the bride, New Jerusalem, Revelation 21, verse 2, shall appear. And she coming forth shall be seen, that now is withdrawn from the earth. And whosoever is delivered from the aforesaid evil shall see my wonders. For my son the Savior shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain survive shall rejoice within 400 years. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride and in the wrong direction, including destroying their own environment, life support system for money. And therefore ask thou no more questions concerning the multitude of them that perish. For when they had taken liberty, they despised the Most High, thought scorn of his law, and forsook his ways, the covenants. Moreover, they have trodden down his righteous, and said in their heart that there is no God, yea, and God knowing that they must die. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved. Revelation, Apocalypse 14, verses 3 and 15, verses 3. For details, please see the new song booklet and my book, The Way Home or Face the Fire, Who the World Is and For Whom the World Was Created. Please see the Gospel of Thomas separately or in my King of Kings Bible. I have said before and now do speak and will speak it also hereafter in Revelation, Apocalypse 14, verse 3. And there be many more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved. Like as a wave is greater than a drop, as 6,000,000, 0,000,000 people in the world today is to the 144,000 elect who will survive. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew upon it. Daniel 2, verses 34 through 35 and 44 through 45. But I would have seen the region or place without the hill was graven, I could not. Isaiah 33, verse 16 through 17, fortress of rock. And Zion, New Jerusalem, shall come down out of the sky, and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded like as thou sawest the hill graven, without hands, not built by humans. Revelation 21, verse 2 and 10. And this, my son, shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which because of their wicked life are fallen into the tempest storm. Ezekiel 13:13. And shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame. And he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto fire, God's law. Apocalypse, Revelation 11, verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the holy people, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. Amen. Jah. See also Enoch 7-9, verse 4 onwards. 2 Esdras 15, verse 46. And thou, Asia, that art sharer of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredoms, child prostitution, etc., that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her Babylon, that is hated in all her works, the market system and inventions. Therefore saith God, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia, woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. A fire is set among you, and who may quench it? Isaiah 42, Verse 3, a fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid of El Ninos, Christ, storms, etc. The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to power at his presence? Daniel 2, verses 34 through 35. The fire is kindled, and shall not be put out, till it consume the foundation of the earth. Woe is me! Woe is me! Who will deliver me in those days? Ezekiel 13, verse 23, Ezekiel 34, verse 10, 12, 27. The beginning of sorrows, Matthew 24, verse 8. And great mournings, the beginnings of famine, and great death, Revelation 9, verse 15. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Study, digest, and live by the way home, or face the fire. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish. Matthew 24, verse 21, are sent as scourges for correction. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Revelation, Apocalypse 16, verse 11. Behold, a victual shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish from famine, and the other that escape the hunger the sword shall destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man able to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there should be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the quick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. The only survival plan that works is contained in my book, The Way Home, or Face the Fire, for which I seek an international publisher. The time will come. The famous 6th century Irish prophet called Colum Cille, who lived at Kells and County Meath, before being driven out by the clergy, according to the 7th century Irish historian Adamna, and going to live in Iona, where he found a monastery and became known as Columba Dove, after whom Iona, Jonah, Dove, is named, wrote amongst his prophecies one that seemed to be about now. The time will come when many will regret the days they have lived to see. Men of literature will be neglected. Falsehood and deceit will prevail. Chapels and shrines will be plundered. Sacred things will become the prey of thieves. Learning will be oppressed, and hence they will be brought low. The powerful will oppress the poor with false laws and perverted judgment. James 5, verse 4. And the aged and infirm will regret the time they have lived to see. Strife and war will rage in every family. Good neighborhood will disappear, and many will be treated with disrespect. The trees shall not bear fruit. There will be cold and hunger, malice, hatred, and bad weather. And only the leaves on the trees will show the difference between summer and winter. Men and women will fly in the air without wings, and will travel from one country to another under the ground, channel, tunnel. Pounds will be filled with cattle, and jails with men. Milk over the country will be churned in one churn. Diseases will abound, and remedies will fail. Every face of mankind will become more wicked, and all classes will be addicted to robbery. Such is the description of people who will live in the ages to come. Maidens will be unblushing, and marriages without witnesses. Colum Cille 5:21. to 597. The final overturn of the throne of David. 2 Esdras 5 verse 6. And even he shall rule, Christ, whom they look not for that dwell upon the earth. The Christ being whilst inside of Jesus said, as is recorded in Matthew, think not that I am come to destroy the law of the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill the prophets and the law. For verily I say unto you, to heaven and earth pass one jot or one tittle shall in no way pass from the law till all the prophecies be fulfilled. Ezekiel 21 verse 26. Thus said the Lord, I am. Remove the diadem sovereignty. Take off the crown. This shall not be the same. Exalt him that is low. Lion of Judah, Zara, and abase him that is high. Lion of Judah, Pharez. I will overturn 1, overturn 2, overturn 3, it, and it shall be no more. Overturned until he comes, whose right it is. And 4, I will give it, him, Shiloh, Christ, Genesis 49, verse 10. The first 3 overturns were, 1, from Judah, Pharez, and Jerusalem to Judah, Zara of the red hand, Genesis 38 verses 28 through 30, at Tara, County Royal Meath, Ireland. Number 2, from Tara, capital T-A-R-A, to Scotland, and Fergus, capital F-E-R-G-U-S, the Great. Number 3, from Scotland to England with Edward Longshanks. Number 4, the 4th overturn began on 25/12/50 when Ian Hamilton and friends kindly removed the stone of destiny from Westminster Abbey and took it from David, who was from both the Judah line of David, Genesis 49:10, and also was called Prince David, who had become King Edward VIII and outlived his stand-in, George VI, fulfilling exactly Christ's own prophecy to his apostle John in his revelation to John. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the communities. I am the root source and the successor of David, Ezekiel 21, verse 27, and the bright and morning star. So because Christ has said that all of the prophecies must be fulfilled in exact and minute detail, the stone of destiny, Lia, capital L-I-A, fail, capital F-A-I-L, that is specifically called the stone of destiny because it is destined to be Christ's throne on earth, has to be found and given to Christ. It is impossible for the stone that was taken to England by Edward Longshanks, the first, not to have been the real stone of destiny, because God says so in his prophecy to Ezekiel, and the same stone was taken by Ian Hamilton and friends also in fulfillment of Christ's own prophecy in Revelation 22, verse 16, quoted above, in order to prevent Elizabeth from being crowned after 22/448, fig tree date, the founding of the Jewish state, in fulfillment of that prophecy. The body used by Christ has to be from the tribe of Joseph, Ephraim, because God says so in Genesis 49, verses 22 to 24, and Genesis 48, verses 19 through 20. Genesis 49, verse 22, Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches run over the wall, colonizing. Genesis 49, verse 24, but his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the cornerstone of Israel, Daniel 2, verses 34 through 5 and 45. Genesis 48, verse 19, and his father Jacob Israel refused and said, I know it, my son Joseph, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great, USA. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude, commonwealth of nations. Genesis 48, verse 20, and he blessed them that day, saying, in thee Joseph shall Israel bless. saying, God, make thee as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And he set Ephraim before Manasseh. Notre Dame's Quatrain 10:72. I am mille neuf cents neuf sept moi. Du ciel viendra un grand royal. The Ephraim rescued le grand roi de Anglemois avant après Mars Rena Pavon her. The year 1999, 7 September month, July or September. From heaven will come a great king of warning, prophet Elijah. See the Old Testament book by Malachi chapter 4. He will bring back to life the great king of Israel, Christ from the tribe of Joseph Ephraim. Before warning, after war, Armageddon reigns in good God's time, the seventh, i.e. the Sabbath millennium, the third millennium A.D. Then there's Nostradamus Quatrain 9 and 32. Defend, profile, profound, colon, soni, diswild, lawless, eclipse, capitalin, as foil, rectus, roman, force, pronui, class, agita, or port de methylene. At last, a profound porphyry column is found, Leah fell. Inscriptions of the capital under the base. Bones, twisted hair, the Roman strength. Tried, the fleet is stirred at the port of Mytilene. Q3, 47. Purplish stone that the real Leah fell. Stone of destiny is made from. Ezekiel 38 verse 4, and I will put hooks into thy jaws, hunger. 2 Esdras 6, 22, and bring thee forth the whole world. Ezekiel 38 verse 16, and thou shalt come up against my people Israel, UK and USA, not Judah, not the Jews as a cloud to cover the land. Revelation 11 verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall kill them. The prophecies point to the fact that the final phase of World War III, that the UK and America are going to lose, as it is now too late to be averted because they arrogantly rejected Christ's sovereignty and warned in 1988 will be fought over food, which, because of mankind's collective insanity and destroying, poisoning, and warming the planet, is already and will continue to be in ever shorter supply. Politicians talk about trying to reduce emission levels to those of 1990. In 1990, the levels were already melting the ice caps, submerging entire islands in the Pacific Ocean, making their peoples homeless and destroying the planet. And that was before the devastation of the rainforest. The world longed for money. It was possible in the past to find a balance between low emission levels and what the trees could recycle into oxygen. It is possible to have low carbon dioxide levels with lots of trees to recycle it. It is impossible to have high levels with no trees and stay alive. And that is what the prophecies say. Man has already destroyed more than 2/3 of the world's trees and is rapidly working to destroy the last third, whilst also rapidly increasing emissions, and man thinks that he is sane. 5.9. And all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall common sense hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. Matthew 24 verse 26. Another two factors that the so-called experts have not taken into consideration are: number one, the amount of water that millions of trees before they were cut down used to use and store. Millions of gallons that are now helping to cause floods. The climate change is not occurring at a constant slow pace. It is accelerating every day, like a runaway train going downhill, faster and faster, because mankind keeps putting more trees and petrol, oil on the fire, and there is an absolutely immovable object at the bottom of the hill. Number 2, the fact that cars, lorries, etc. do not only give out poisonous gases that are causing the greenhouse effect, each and every one of the many millions of them also give off a great deal of extra and unnatural heat to help warm up the earth inside the greenhouse effect that they have caused, and thereby melt the ice caps faster and drastically change the climate with horrifying results. It is only fair that all these things should be explained to Joe Public in words that he can understand, so that he can decide for himself whether to stop his love affair with the motor car, etc., or continue to poison himself and die. Soon, that is the reason for this booklet. As already stated, the only survival plan that works is contained in my book, The Way Home or Face the Fire. Please use it. Jah, J-A-H.